No one individual ever achieves anything. As a team, we were able to do what I had visioned. 2017, I decided to move myself to Delhi NCR. But we carry out a whole lot of activities throughout the year, engaging actively with our target audience. People are becoming more affluent in our country. People, in fact, look up to Canada as the experts in sustainable forest management.
What are the future plans of Canadian wood?
International trends finding their way into our country as well. There was a time then when the furniture was being bought for generations to come. I think it has to be reflecting the personality of the house owner.
Hello everyone, I welcome you to this segment of Voice of Leaders presented by Building Material Reporter, the fastest growing video content producer in construction building material industry. And today we have with us another renowned and eminent personality in the industry whose name doesn't need any introduction, but since it's customary, so today we have with us Mr. Pranesh Chhibber, Country Director of FII India, properly known as Canadian Wood. If I talk about Canadian Wood was established in 2014 with the aim to bring quality, environmentally responsible wood products from sustainable forest of British Columbia, Canada. With multinational experience of almost 40 years, Mr. Chhibber has bring lots of new initiatives in Canadian wood. Since 2014, he is holding this position, and with his initiatives, Canadian wood has seen tremendous heights and achievements so far. Let's welcome Mr. Pranesh Chhibber. So we welcome you on this show. How this journey of Canadian wood started in India?
Thank you very much for having me, and I would like to first clarify that no one individual ever achieves anything.
Sure.
All the same, thank you for showering so much praise on me, but I think as a whole, as an organization, we've done pretty well in the last 8 years, 9 years we have been here. It's been a great team effort. We have some very nice people in the team, and my job became easier because as a team, we were able to do what I had visioned. So having said that, we've been here since 2014 when we set up our office in Mumbai.
Okay.
So we also, next to our office, have a fantastic experience center or a display center, as we would like to call it, where the target audience of architects, developers, manufacturers, contractors can walk in and have a look exactly as to how wood can be used in different applications. That is how we started it. And then as we went along, the team kept on expanding, and we opened up one satellite office in Bangalore and another one here in Delhi NCR, where we are currently. I was stationed at the Mumbai office till about 2017.
Okay.
And in 2017, I decided to move myself to Delhi NCR. And since then, I've been here, but I do travel to different parts of the country to meet up with people in the hubs in the metro cities. That is where our focus is, to have an effective use of the resources and the manpower.
So definitely, because of your clear vision and goal, the Canadian wood is achieving these heights gradually. I would like to know that what are the upcoming events of Canadian wood?
When you talk about events, I guess you're referring to the activities which we have. Of course, in events, we do participate in exhibitions from time to time. But we carry out a whole lot of activities throughout the year, engaging actively with our target audience. We do a lot of training workshops with the manufacturers and the contractors and the carpenters community in general. We also support certain initiatives like the FFSC, where they do a lot of skilling and training of the woodworking professionals. We also do a lot of what we call as seminars and webinars on educating the people on sustainability, on certification, on use of different species of wood, what to do, what not to do, the tips and the tricks.
Right.
We also do a lot of networking events where we actively engage with the industry leaders and experts who come and attend. These are few of the things which we do for the entire year. Apart from this, we are actively engaged with wood manufacturing industry by organizing or initiating product trials with them, by giving them free wood under what we call as the Try Canadian Wood program. So those people then try the Canadian wood species. We suggest to them after understanding what they're doing. Once they work with it, and if they need any support or help on technical aspects, we do provide them, we handhold. And once they are happy and satisfied with the results, it automatically results in commercialization. Then they ask for wood on their own.
Exactly.
Once their buyers and their market starts accepting what they have made already as a sample.
Educating and collaborating simultaneously.
Yes, so we have a huge educational program.
So in terms of reducing carbon footprint and talking about the ecosystem, what are the future plans of Canadian wood?
Well, I think our current plans are going to be in place for a long time to come. So I would say future is the same as we are doing currently. Canada happens to be the world leader in forest certification. We are also the world leaders in sustainable forest management. People in fact look up to Canada as the experts in sustainable forest management. We have certain practices in place and which are diligently followed by the forestry industry, because there is a very active government and public participation, and we are proud to have the kind of forest we have. As you all know, Canada is a forest nation with over almost 10% of the world's total forest coverage. With that kind of an abundance, we put a self-control on ourselves, and we do not harvest, as on date, more than 0.35% of our total commercially harvestable forest.
Okay.
As a result, it's been almost 3 decades that we've had zero deforestation in Canada.
And that is very important, to
Despite
balance
being,
the ecosystem.
Yeah, and despite being the world leader in lumber exports.
Since you have been associated with wood industry for almost 20 years, so what are the trends that are gaining momentum?
People are becoming more affluent in our country here. As a result, they are exposed to a lot of international influences. They travel, they see, they observe, they adapt. And I think we see a lot of those international trends finding their way into our country as well. There was a time then when the furniture was being bought for generations to come. I think that's not the case anymore. We have more nuclear families happening. As a result, the furniture has to match up with the growing needs as well as the changing spaces. Furniture has become more of an accessory, reflection of what you are. It has to be reflecting the personality of the house owner.
Exactly.
And they would like to upgrade every 3-5 years, even if they are not shifting home. They would still like to be with it. They find more attractive options in the marketplace. So, like everything else, I mean, earlier on you used to just buy one watch and live with it. Now I think people have got multiple watches just because it's become a fashion statement.
There is a very popular term, remanufacturing of wood. So what does remanufacturing of wood, actually means?
Yeah, so I can understand it's a bit confusing for the people outside of North America. Remanufacturing is actually manufacturing products with wood, but because we use the term manufacture in North America for creating lumber out of logs.
Okay.
So because we process logs to manufacture lumber, so we say that the manufacturing has taken place. And when we rework with the lumber to produce other products, we call it reman. So that's a remanufacture.
Okay.
And so the use can be classified either into remanufactured products or in structural applications. So structural applications, you build with wood, you make a house.
Right.
You can create a small cottage, resort, villa, whatever you want to. So So this is the structural side of the wood. Also in the structural side, you normally end up having a hybrid with the local stone or bricks used for the walls, and you create a roofing structure with wood, trusses, beams, columns, etc. So this is what we call the structural side of the wood use.
So multiple utility is there for that.
So when we come to the Reman, the Reman can be classified into a lot of things: door, windows, door frames, furniture, indoor, outdoor, interior applications, panelings, balustrades, railings, cladding, decking. So all this falls under Reman.
So British Columbia is known for its biodiversity. What are the 5 species of wood or trees that you basically emphasize when you talk about Indian condition and Indian market?
So British Columbia is blessed with these 5 distinct species, and we have enough to not only use ourselves within the North America, but also we have some spare for use across the world. So and also because we appreciate what has been blessed to Canada by the nature, so we take good care of it. We have international prominent international agencies like PEFC and FSC certifying our forests that they are sustainably managed. So a lot of practices like sustainable forest management practices are in place where we ensure that wood or the forest cover does not deplete, despite the fact that we do very planned and systematic logging. But then that is planned out in a manner that you harvest every tree. For every 1 tree harvested, you put back 3 trees into the forest.
That's a very planned and systematic way.
Yes, so not only that, we look after those trees once they've been planted back into the forest to see it grow up to a certain reach, and then leave it to the nature for it to grow on its own. But this is very different from plantation. This is not plantation, we call it reforestation. So reforestation is something which is actually taking the seeds from the forest you're going to harvest in advance, take them and grow them into small saplings in the nurseries. And when you harvest an area, you go back to the same area with the same saplings of the same species and plant them in that area. As a result of that, we ensure that the ecosystem is not disturbed. The plants, the animals, the rivers, the waterways, the fishes, everything, the birds, they don't find any eco changes taking place. So this is what reforestation is all about.
Basically, you are maintaining the ecosystem as it is, and helping the nature along with the industry. So why you feel that India should move towards sustainable resources?
So why India needs to import wood is because India is a wood fiber deficient nation. Unfortunately, when harvesting was allowed in India, we didn't look at whether how much forest we cover we are losing, or how much we lose, what are the side effects. So it was done in an unplanned manner. As a result, somewhere the government found out and realized that we were losing forest covers. So somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, the harvesting of trees in India was restricted. So even now, what we call as logging in India is restricted, except for some areas approved where the plantations are there or outside of forests.
Exactly right.
So forests in India are protected.
Right.
Because the forests are protected in India, somewhere in 2016-17, a stage arrived where we stopped losing forest cover. So this decision of the government of India has paid off. Right. Had we not protected our forests in the 80s or the 90s, early 90s, probably we would have still been losing forest cover. But today we have arrived at a stage where we stopped losing forest cover. but it'll take us a long time, decades, to recover the forest cover.
True. Gradually we are moving towards that, since awareness has been created, and I think Canadian wood is playing a very important role in creating awareness and educating people regarding this.
Yeah, so till such time, I'm afraid India will have to depend on imported wood to meet its needs.
Okay, so Canadian Wood has recently collaborated with many architects. So are there any future projects in pipeline?
Well, we have been, ever since we came in, we have been actively collaborating with and participating in the projects of different architects, developers. So we have been actually chasing all such projects which require wood in some form or the other, whether it is a Reman application or structural application. In fact, we put in a lot of emphasis on structural application when there was hardly anything known in India some few years back, which has paid off, and a lot of such structural projects are happening now. Despite the fact that we are no longer encouraging demo projects, the commercial projects are happening on their own because of the effort which has gone in the past by the team. And we see more and more architects and developers getting confident about working with wood, not only in Reman but also in structural. So having said that, that will happen on its own, because I would say structural application is still a niche. It will take time to grow because the expertise has to keep growing. We are there to support the growth of that expertise, but our focus in the meanwhile is on the Reman sector, because India as a nation consumes huge amounts of wood in the Reman compared to the structural side.
So this was for the today's segment, and it was a pleasure having you here, sir.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you so much. It was wonderful talking to you.